Hana wakes up from a dream where she imagines her colleagues at the high school discovering her secret. In the dream, they treat her like a dog, which worries her. Meanwhile, Seo-won enters Yule's room and is surprised to find Hana there. He sits them down and asks if they were up to something questionable the night before. Together, Hana and Yule come up with a lie and tell Seo-won about a police complaint and how Hana saved Yule from the cops. Hana lies that she was very drunk and passed out in the cab, ending up in Yule's bed while he slept on the sofa. They explain that Yule came into the bedroom because he was uncomfortable on the sofa. Seo-won seems to believe the lie, thanks Hana for saving his nephew, and leaves. Miss Yoon, who is waiting for Seo-won for his morning jog, spots him with Hana outside his apartment. She overhears them talking about a secret, and Seo-won asks Hana to keep the fact that he's Yule's uncle a secret. Seo-won also advises Hana to cut down on her drinking as it has been causing trouble lately. Hana goes to Woo-tak's pet clinic and tells the truth about the night before. Yoona scolds her sister for being reckless with the secret. Meanwhile, Seo-won prepares breakfast for Yule before school. Yule asks Seo-won if he can adopt a pet dog and pretends to act like one to make his case. Seo-won promises to consider his request and asks him to have breakfast as they are running late for school. Seo-won notices a pet shop on his way to work but gets worried when the door to the shop opens unexpectedly. Yoona drops Hana off at work and suggests giving a dog keychain to Seo-won to help him overcome his fear of dogs. She claims that if Seo-won keeps the keychain with him, he would get used to the feeling of a furry animal. Hana is unsure if Seo-won will agree to keep the keychain. On her way to work, Bo-kyun notices Hana holding the keychain and talks to her about how much she likes dogs. They enter the school and Seo-won watches them from a distance. Miss Yoon invites Seo-won for a walk, assuring him that she can be trusted with secrets. She shares a secret of her own and asks Seo-won to reciprocate. Seo-won feels uneasy and excuses himself from the conversation. The vice principal brings his daughter's dog, Mandyuk, to school and keeps it in the staff room. Knowing that Seo-won dislikes dogs, Hana lies about being allergic, and the vice principal puts Mandyuk in a cage. Seo-won observes from outside and appreciates Hana's effort to contain the dog. The vice principal asks Seo-won to fetch Mandyuk's feeding bowl and food from his car and feed the dog. Sneaking into the staff room, Seo-won is unaware that Mandyuk is approaching him. Hana pushes Seo-won out of the way, saving him from coming in contact with the dog. Throughout the day, Seo-won avoids entering the staff room due to Mandyuk's presence. In the afternoon, Bo-kyun brings Mandyuk outside and the dog heads towards Seo-won. Hana throws a toy to divert Mandyuk's attention, preventing a confrontation. The female teachers notice Seo-won's absence and question it. Hana informs Seo-won that Mandyuk has left and the staff room is now clear. After his class, Seo-won finally enters the staff room and takes a seat. Suddenly, Hana finds out that the vice principal has returned to the school with his dog. She rushes to the staff room to warn Seo-won but sees that he has climbed onto the table to avoid Mandyuk. She quickly grabs the dog and keeps it away from Seo-won. Hana makes up a story, telling the other teachers that Seo-won is on the table fixing the sprinkler. Seo-won plays along, joking that it's funny for a grown man to be afraid of dogs. He's grateful to Hana for saving him. In a flashback, it's revealed that Seo-won has had feelings for Hana since she joined Kdrama High School as a teacher. Back in the present, Bo-kyun praises Mandyuk and the vice principal takes the dog home after school. Bo-kyun spots Hana at the cake shop and calls Seo-won, asking him to buy the promised cake. Seo-won arrives at the cake shop and sees Hana debating whether to indulge in her favorite cake, not mentioning the reason. To prevent Hana from succumbing to her sweet cravings later, Seo-won buys all the chocolate cakes. They walk to the bus stop together, discussing the events of the day. Seo-won thanks Hana for helping him with Mandyuk, and Hana reveals she knew about his fear and just wanted to assist. She empathizes with his fear, sharing her own embarrassing moments with Seo-won. Seo-won is touched by Hana's understanding. She leaves a dog keychain on his bag, suggesting it might help him overcome his fear. Seo-won gives Hana one of the cakes, suggesting she enjoy it during the day. At home, Hana lets Woo-tak and Yoona have the cake, knowing she won't be able to eat it before turning into a dog. Meanwhile, Seo-won joins Bo-kyun in the woods and shares the cake with him. Bo-kyun notices the dog keychain and asks Seo-won about it. Seo-won brushes off the question and wonders why Bo-kyun lives in the woods instead of a house like everyone else. Bo-kyun shares that he was waiting to finish a task and stayed in the woods during that time. The next day, Bo-kyun goes to a shady basement near the school and enters a hidden room, revealing a fabric resembling Joseon-era clothing. Meanwhile, the teachers are invited to their colleague's wedding, held at a remote location, requiring a bus ride. Song-yi asks Bo-kyun and Hana to buy a gift for the wedding. Seo-won offers to go instead of Bo-kyun due to grading papers. Seo-won and Hana enjoy their time at the mall, purchasing a couple's night suit as a wedding gift. Hana mentions stopping by a pharmacy for allergy medicine for the bus trip. Seo-won suggests taking a car to the wedding and invites Hana to join. Miss Yoon overhears and forces Hana to carpool with her and Bo-kyum. Seo-won is disappointed that Hana didn't stand up to Miss Yoon. Miss Yoon informs Bo-kyum about Seo-won and Hana leaving together, and Bo-kyum agrees to join the carpool. The next morning, Hana gets ready for the wedding with Yoona's help. Bo-kyum and Miss Yoon wait for Hana, but Song-ye decides to join the carpool instead. Seo-won appears at the park and tries to guide Hana to his car when he spots Miss Yoon. The episode ends with Seo-won using his umbrella to shield him and Hana from Miss Yoon's view. The night before the wedding, Seo-won informs Hana that Bo-kyum is always late, so driving with him would make them late. Hana decides to go to the wedding with Seo-won, making him happy. Meanwhile, Yeol finds Seo-won studying the route to the wedding venue, wondering why a new driver like him is attempting a long drive. That night, Seo-won watches videos to learn how to look cool while driving. Yoona asks Hana about breaking the curse. The next morning, Hana prepares for the wedding, ignoring Ms. Yoon's carpool request. Ms. Yoon, worried about riding with Seo-won, looks for them. Seo-won uses an umbrella to shield Hana from Ms. Yoon and drives her to the venue. During the drive, Yeol calls Seo-won, revealing he's a new driver, surprising Hana. Somehow, they arrive just in time. Seo-won grabs Hana's hand, straightens her hair clip, and leads her to the hall. Bo-kyum hosts the wedding, and Seo-won performs a song, mesmerizing Hana and the attendees. Miss Yoon arrives at the wedding during lunch and sits with other teachers. During lunch, Min-sik, the groom, asks Seo-won to keep cardboard cutouts in his car. Seo-won agrees to take them back to the city on his drive back. Miss Yoon tricks Seo-won into driving her to the terminal, claiming urgent work. On the way, she reveals she'll wait for the bus for 2 hours. Bo-kyum calls Seo-won, saying he's taking Hana to the beach, making Seo-won sad. Bo-kyum thinks Hana gave up on Seo-won, just like she did in their past life. At the beach, Bo-kyum and Hana talk about nature and decide to go home. Seo-won drops Miss Yoon and refuses dinner, returning home. Hana, annoyed by Seo-won's apology, looks at wedding photos. Yoona suggests using Yule to kiss Seo-won while he sleeps to break the curse. Hana is embarrassed but realizes it's a risk to her life. Yoona and Woo-tak bribe Yule to help Hana. The next day, Yule meets Hana in class and learns about the curse and the drunk kiss. Yule agrees to help Hana lift the curse that night. He suggests she should just date Seo-won, but Hana feels her condition is too weird. Yule cheers her up and promises to call her after Seo-won sleeps. Late at night, Yule sneaks dog Hana into Seo-won's house. Yoona and Woo-tak give Yule a bag of Hana's clothes for her to change into after turning human. Yule is doubtful but agrees to put dog Hana in Seo-won's room. Dog Hana tries to kiss Seo-won in his sleep, but it doesn't work. Seo-won wakes up, screams, and tries to run. Yule holds him, distracting him while Yoona takes dog Hana away. Seo-won, confused, goes back to bed. The next morning, Hana wakes up as a human, hoping the curse is lifted. But when she turns into a dog again, it's clear the curse persists. Yoona suggests asking their mother about it, but Hana is scared to admit her mistake. Hana shares that her heart was racing before they kiss and wonders if it's related to the curse. Yoona reveals the curse breaker must be fully alert during the kiss. They discuss the tricky rules, and Hana considers telling Seo-won about the curse, but Yoona warns about her scumbag ex trying to exploit the situation. Yoona advises Hana against trusting any man and suggests finding a different way to lift the curse. Woo-tak proposes asking Seo-won if he's interested in overcoming his fear of dogs. Hana weighs the consequences of this idea. After a few exam-filled days, Seo-won and Hana finally walk to the bus stop together. Hana tries to understand Seo-won's fear better and learns about a traumatic incident from his childhood that led to his fear of dogs. The next day, Hana offers to help Seo-won overcome his fear and meet him after work. Seo-won gladly accepts but worries about facing dogs. Hana takes a gentle approach, asking him to observe a dog from a distance first. They go to a park and Hana helps Seo-won guess what the dogs might be thinking. When a large dog approaches, Seo-won gets scared and Hana covers them with a jacket to create a safe space, calming him down. Seo-won reflects on his date with Hana and her efforts to help him overcome his fear of dogs. He considers thanking her but decides against it. Instead, Hana receives a text from Bo-kyum comparing her to a puppy, making Woo-tak and Yoona wonder if he knows her secret. The next day, the vice principal proudly announces the school's award for the school violence prevention campaign, but Bo-kyum dismisses it. Bo-kyum and Seo-won spot Hana, who avoids them. Bo-Kyum suspects something between Seo-won and Hana, and Seo-won doesn't deny it. Hana is confused by her reaction when she sees them. A student, Han Jae-hee, asks Hana if she has seen Seo-won and Bo-Kyum for a video competition. Seo-won observes the students mistreating a girl named Jae-won and later inquires about her to Yeol. Yeol brings up Miss Yoon being voted the ideal woman among female teachers, upsetting Hana. The next day, Hana works on the notice board with Seo-won, trying not to show her upset feelings about the competition results. Seo-won attempts to cheer her up, saying second place isn't bad, but Hana remains oddly upset. Later, Seo-won witnesses Jae-hee and her friends bullying Jae-won in the locker room. Jae-hee lies to Seo-won, claiming they are filming an anti-bullying video for the school campaign. Jae-won agrees to avoid causing a scene. Seo-won, concerned, reports the incident to Miss Yoon, who checks with Jae-won and believes it was just a video rehearsal. Seo-won remains convinced something is wrong and decides to investigate. The vice principal scolds him in the staff room for making a big deal out of it. Bo-Kyum reassures Seo-won not to take the vice principal's comment too seriously. Hana also becomes suspicious of Jae-hee and her friends. That evening, Hana and Seo-won find Jae-won hiding in the storage room to avoid bullying by Jae-hee and her friends. Seo-won becomes emotional hearing Jae-won's story of being bullied after participating in the anti-bullying campaign. They take the video evidence to the school faculty, telling the vice principal that Jae-won, the victim, exposed the bully. The vice principal is annoyed as their school was just awarded for preventing violence. Seo-won defends Jae-won passionately, confronting the vice principal. Overwhelmed, Seo-won breaks down outside, where Hana comforts him. Seo-won shares his own past of being bullied, revealing it involved a group beating him with a threat involving a dog. Hana gives Seo-won some space, but he holds onto her, expressing his emotions. That night, Hana decides to prove Jae-hee's bullying to the vice principal by taking her phone after she turns into a dog. The next day, Hana turns in the video of Jae-hee and her friends bullying Jae-won, found on Jae-hee's phone. Seo-won confronts Jae-hee, threatening her with consequences for her actions. After the investigation, Jae-hee gets kicked out of a movie because of the bullying video. Angry and upset, she plans revenge against Seo-won. Hana, in dog form, overhears her plan outside a convenience store and decides to intervene. Jae-hee plans to falsely accuse Seo-won of sexual assault. Hana, Yuna, and Woo-tak learn about this from a pet camera recording. Jae-hee asks Seo-won to meet at a park. Yeol, Hana, and her dog form show up and Jae-hee tries to seduce Seo-won, but seeing the dog makes him panic and run away. Yeol takes Seo-won home, lying that the dog captured a video of Jae-hee's plan. Meanwhile, Jae-hee chases after Hana, but Bo-Kyum appears, warning her not to harm Seo-won's reputation. Scared, Jae-hee runs away and Yuna and Woo-tak take Hana home. Jae-hee's friends are punished with volunteering and she's suspended. Miss Yoon warns them not to get into trouble again. Seo-won finally admits to Hana that he picked Miss Yoon as his ideal woman over her, but Hana teases him about it. Hana asks Yeol to help break the curse that night as she's running out of time. Yeol talks to Seo-won, saying Coco needs a place to stay, and Seo-won agrees. Yuna and Woo-tak bring Hana to Seo-won and Yeol's house. However, instead of staying up to help Hana kiss Seo-won at the right moment, Yeol falls asleep. The next morning, Hana leaves dressed in Yeol's clothes and Seo-won grabs her, mistaking her